Hello everyone and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today we're going to be talking about a support build for Diona, what artifacts I think are best on her, her constellations and talents, and going to do a little showcase of the places that I think that you can utilize her the best. Without further ado, let's get into the video. We can first start off by talking about her talents and what they look like at lower and higher levels, and then we will get into constellations and artifacts shortly after. Starting off with her E, which I think is her most useful skill, you will be able to create a shield that is based on Diona's max HP, and it scales off the number of icy paws that hit their target. So if you just press E, it only fires off 2 paws. However, if you hold E, it fires off 5. And then with the 5 paws, the shield created will gain an additional 75% damage absorption. So what this basically means is that you will be able to do 2.4 seconds per claw, which with 5 claws is 12 seconds. And then you will also have a shield that is based on this percentage of her HP, which for me at C6 is 12.2% plus 1,409. And then that is also given an additional 75% based on the hold. And I will throw the math up on the screen as to what that looks like and what that translates to. My Diona has 25k HP, so you'll be able to see what those numbers look like here. Now, something else that's cool about her E is that the shield has a 250% cryo damage absorption bonus and will cause your active character to become affected by cryo at the point of formation for a short duration. The latter part is not as cool. Being affected by cryo if you're already wet could cause you to become frozen. As we all know, that is never a fun time. But the 250% cryo damage absorption is very, very useful in a lot of situations. It basically makes it so that Diona is the best healer or the best damage mitigation against any mob that has cryo, whether that's the cryo flower or the wolf boss or floor 12, and I'll showcase some of those shortly. Next, I want to talk about her Q, which is a skill where she tosses out a cold brew, which is a little drink bottle that creates a cryo damage AoE. And this AoE deals continuous damage and also continuously regenerates the HP of characters within the AoE. I believe the damage takes once every 4 seconds, and that the heal takes once every 2 seconds. So if you're using this as a heal in co-op or for your characters, then switching into this is a pretty strong heal, on top of the fact that the cryo damage will be able to apply cryo and you can create reactions based off of that. Personally, I find it very, very useful for freeze, but it's also possible to maneuver this with melt, just a bit more difficult in my opinion. It would also be really strong with superconduct. However, I think that it's better with a more damage-based reaction due to her C6, and we will get into her constellations right after the normal attacks. Just a quick overview of the percentage here. The continuous field does 89% of her damage, and the HP regen over time is 9.07 plus 1,044. For me, this is about 3,500 HP, which is really, really nice, considering Diona has 25k and a lot of my other characters have 18 to 20k at the level 80 range with pretty good artifacts, so just keep that in mind. It's a pretty strong heal, but that is without the 4-piece maidens, and this could be even stronger if you use that set as well. Just really quick, her normal attack is basically standard normal attack percentages. Nothing really special here. Her aim shot has something that benefits from one of her constellations, but other than that, it's just a pretty regular bow normal attack. The other thing about her is whenever you use her E, the shield on you is going to have a 10% move speed increase and 10% stamina consumption decrease. This is something that's also very helpful and noticeable in floor 12. And then lastly, her Ascension 4 makes it so that any opponents in the area of her Q have decreased attack for 15 seconds, which helps with overall survivability and makes it so that if you have her Q out and a shield on at the same time, then you're not going to be getting hit so hard whenever mobs decide to smack you. Now, quickly getting into her constellations, I think that if you are going to be pulling for her and you're not going all the way for C6 just as a whale, then probably going for C2 is the most useful. But starting on Constellation 1, it regenerates 15 energy for Diona after the effects of Signature Mix end. This means that when her Q is completely over, she will get 15 energy back. And since her Q costs 80 energy, that means that you will basically be lowering its cost to 65 energy just by getting Constellation 1, which is very, very nice as a support character to have your heal up more often. Next is C2, which increases Icy Paw's damage by 15%, which personally, since I built it as support, doesn't matter that much. But it also increases the shield's damage absorption by 15%, which is very useful if you're going to be using the hold skill very often, or honestly, if you're just going to be using the press skill, having the extra shield absorption is very nice. Additionally, the C2 also makes it so that the shield is being created for all of the players in the party if you are in co-op. This means that Diona goes from being just a good character, just a good support character for your team, to also being a good support character in co-op situations, and makes her really valuable for that as well. Getting into her C3, it is what everyone's C3 is, same with C5. However, for Diona, it is Q first, and then her C5 is E, and typically for 4 stars, I've noticed it's the other way around, but that's neither here nor there. Her C4 makes it so that when Diona stands inside of her Q's radius, that she gains 60% reduced time for her charge shot. That's actually pretty strong if you're going to be doing a charge shot build or you want to offensively use Diona as a charge shot character. I think that this is very helpful for breaking Fatui shields, but that's the only time that I really would try to do this. I don't really see a reason to use her as a DPS simply because there are stronger options. But yes, for Cryo, this is very good for breaking shields, where Cryo will destroy the shield, most notably Electro Fatui or Electro Mages. As I mentioned, C5 is just her E plus 3 levels. And then lastly, her C6, which I think is the most broken constellation for her, is characters within the signature mix radius will gain the following effects based on HP amounts. If you're below 50% HP, you get a 30% healing bonus. I know a few people have noticed Diona, some people who have C6 Diona have noticed that their heals tick for more and then they'll tick for less later. This is the reason why. People forget that this is a part of her constellation. And then the second part, which I think is the most broken part, is characters that are above 50% HP will have their elemental mastery increased by 200. Now, just for reference, in order for Sucrose to give a party member 200 elemental mastery, Sucrose would need to have either an instructor set and then about 100-ish elemental mastery with both of her passes, or you would need to have 600 elemental mastery and then her regular passive in order to provide this same amount. So Diona at C6 will provide as much elemental mastery as a 600 elemental mastery Sucrose, which is kind of crazy considering Diona also covers heals and protects your party and is very strong against Electro Shields and is a Cryo character, and the game very heavily lacks Cryo in my opinion. So if you do decide to whale for Diona, I think that this is a very good decision. She's basically a Cryo Bennett when you have her at C6. Next, I want to go over the artifacts that I am personally running, since it depends how you want to build her. But I believe that this set is the best for Diona specifically. However, if you're running full support, I believe 4-piece Maidens is better because the retracing bolide effect only applies to Diona when she's on the field. To my knowledge, I have heard that if you use her shield and then switch to a different character, that new character does not get the increased shield strength. This is just something I heard. I've not done the testing myself, so we'll have to see about that later. But for now, this is the build that I'm running, and basically I stacked the shit out of HP on her, which is why I maxed her flower, and it has HP percent. All of these actually rolled into crit damage, which I find very strange. Whenever I want crit damage on offensive pieces, of course I get it on freaking Diona's support build. But yeah, they're all HP main stat with, you know, crit damage, I guess. But that results in her having 25k HP or 24,994, which will get fixed as soon as I upgrade a couple more artifacts. I believe you can get to roughly 27k with just plus 20 artifacts that are HP based and not having a HP based weapon. Speaking of weapons, I personally am running Sacrificial Bow on her, but I believe that if you wanted to run Favonius, that is also a very strong bow for her support build. Being able to have her queue up more often whenever you auto on her. You could use your hold E and then just throw out a couple autos, and if you crit, you'd get back a bunch of energy from that. And then I'd probably say the next best bow is any additional 3-stars that have energy recharge. I personally am not familiar with the 3-star bows, but you'll definitely want energy recharge, or if you want to go super tanky, HP on her. So keep that in mind whenever you are building her. Now we can get into some of the situations that I find Diona shines more than the other healers. Specifically, in floor 12, I started running her over Chi-Chi just because of her ability to basically ignore all the ice mechanics, which I will showcase now.
Time for takeoff. Time for takeoff. Diona special.
You can run, but you can't.
Let's end this quickly. Joy.
Couldn't let your guard down.
Looks like I went too far.
Outside of her E being a very strong shield, I particularly like Diona because her Q also will consistently tick and apply cryo, which in this island will allow me to freeze all of these Ruin Guardians whenever they actually gather together.
Monster! Look at you, Foodhound!
Couldn't let your guard down. No time.
Top really? Huh. Think you can bully me? Ducky, ducky, go!
Brace yourself. This is gonna hurt.
Diona, Sasu! Shake hands!
Tidal wave. Who's next?
Look at you, Foodhound!
As you can see there, Klee ticked for 4800 HP when she was below 50%, and then it went down to 3800, but her elemental mastery is up
bombs
by
so
200, which for Vaporize and Melt is going to be put that at 40%, and then for other reactions we'll put it at 97.2%. So typically my Klee only has 39 elemental mastery. I build her more for crit and crit damage. So that is another reason Diona is very, very good to have. The last thing I want to demonstrate is why I run Sacrificial Bow on her, and that is mostly due to these Electrofatui right here. As you can see, he just put up the shield, and I will now try and break the shield with Diona. My E is not up, so I'm using a charge shot. Now my E is up, and I'll just do a full hold and Sacrificial proc it again, so now I can just do that, and the shield is broken.
Think you can bully me, Diona? Special!
that's basically it. I think that's all I have to say about Diona. She's a very good support. I would highly recommend pulling for her in the banner, especially if you're low on cryo units. She's pretty good at C0. If you're going for Constellations, I'd recommend 2. But obviously, if you're trying to be a big boy DPS, then going for C6 is going to allow your main DPS to have some really high numbers whenever you're pulling inside of her queue. Hope you guys learned some stuff from this video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Genshin content. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.